Hey everybody, welcome to the Pike Homestead. So today I'm going to be working on something for the goats. They've been having real trouble with the bowl we've been putting the hay in with eating all the hay and not just tossing it all over the ground. So we're going to work on putting together a couple of different options for hay feeders. We've got a metal basket that we bought from a local store that might work with a little bit of tweaking. And then we've also got some wire fencing that I'm going to build and twist and tie into a shape to hold some hay, and we'll do a trial and see how it goes. So yeah, I'm going to go get all that set up. Why don't you come along with me? Okay. Right, so it's time to get about building some hay feeders for the goats. So we decided to do kind of a compare and contrast here, just to see what you can do on a budget. So what we're going to use here is we've got this basket that Caroline found when she's out shopping. So it's kind of small. It only costs about 20 bucks. But I'm pretty sure I'm also gonna have to cut some holes in it and get that going. We'll see how it works for them. It's only gonna hold like what, half a blade of hay type of thing off the bales. And then, you know, we've got our fencing here. So we got this as part of the deal when we bought the goats, for however we want to use it, whether that was shoring up some of the fencing or for things like this where I can trim it and fold it. So it's going to be a little bit more work intensive on this one, but I can also make it a better size. So we can just take, you know, a chunk of hay off the bale and just toss it right in. So yeah, I'm going to get set up and get working, and we'll see how it turns out. So my first concern here as I'm cutting these is my tin snips here can't get very close to the sidebars, so it's leaving off a fair amount here, and while I'm filing it down, I'm wondering if maybe I can't get a little closer. If I bring in a saw to cut through the metal, maybe I'll get a little cleaner and smoother, because I'm worried about it catching on them and possibly drawing blood. So I'm gonna go grab a couple of my small metal saws, and like I've got a keyhole saw and then my Sawzall, so see if I can use those to trim a little closer. So we'll keep working here. Alright, so the build is done. So yeah, I've got definitely two very different sizes here. So the basket is much firmer, higher grade metal, and again, it was only 20 bucks. It's just like a waste basket that we saw. I thought, well, we can give that a shot. It was much harder to work with as far as cutting it and filing it down, and you know, I may still tape the edges because they're not perfect, but I don't think they're going to cause any cuts or anything. And then the welded wire fence, it's a lot softer, it's a smaller gauge, it's a little bit more flimsy, but it's a lot easier to work with to get the size you want. So I've made it a foot deep by 2 feet wide by 2 feet tall, just to give me plenty of room to toss some hay in there so that, I can get a day's worth of feed in there for them. And it's much easier to work with, especially making the holes. It's a lot easier to trim and then bend and snap off all the pieces and not leave much in the way of spurs. So it's much easier to sand down. And again, if it causes a problem, I can always just throw some like duct tape or electrical tape around the edges of the holes just to make it a little easier for them. So now I'm gonna put them up, put some hay in them, see what they think. And then we're probably gonna leave it for a week and see which one. We'll use the two and see which one works better and get back to you with that. All right. Well, early returns, I've just put some hay in, both of them, and they've been interested in both, but seems like they're preferring to pull it out of the one I made out of the welded wire fence, which is good because I can fit a lot more in that. So it's just, I'll make sure I can definitely get their daily amount in that and have it work. This is fantastic. All right, so there we go. They're diving right in my one made from scratch from fencing that we already owned. The cost of that, it's stuff we bought for the goats anyway, so it's good I'm able to make use of it like this. Build 2 or 3 more and still have a bunch of that roll of fencing left. So we can spread them out if we ever need to close up stalls and move them around. But they're both being used, so they're checking them out. Both will work. This is going real good. What do you think, Duke? Do you like it? Anybody? Yeah? Daisy. Getting right in there? Oh, that's good. And Sally, Mama? Yeah, it's good to see you guys eating your hay, right? It's just so easy for them. Just so easy for them to throw it all over the floor out of the bowl it was in. So this is a lot more contained. They can't pull big globs out of it. They can reach in and bite and pull a little mouthful at a time, but not just dump the whole thing out or hop in it and use it as bed or a washroom. So I'm happy with the results here. So let us know what you think. Which one do you think is going to be preferred here? So early results are the bigger one, but they've also been going to the small one too. So let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll finish up this video in about a week's time, and we'll see how the usage has been going. All right, so here we are. It's been 3 or 4 days, and so just looking at the usage of these two. So the one I made from the fencing is definitely seeing more usage, but it needs a little bit more framework. It's fairly flimsy and they tend to crush it in a lot, but they seem to be using it more than the heavier duty, smaller one here. So I think what I'd be going with is I will go with this one, but I will probably at least build in some framework, just put some wooden framing just to give it some more strength and rigidity, because it's getting pushed around a lot. But they both work. I'm not seeing as much hay scattered on the ground. There's still a ton, just because it hasn't been time to clean up the stall fully yet. But there's not a lot of extra hay appearing underneath them, at least, especially with this one. This one, I may have put it a little too low and they were grabbing it out of the top. But there still isn't a heck of a lot there, and it hasn't been touched since I filled it up this morning. But this one definitely has, so that's a good sign. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for spending the time with us as we sort out our goat feeding situation. So it was fun to do the compare and contrast type of thing and to see what's most cost effective. The fencing itself for the roll is not cheap, but it's something we had. So if you're looking to do it yourself, I'd recommend probably you're going to buy some fencing, be looking at getting either a hog panel, thank you, or some cattle panels, because they are much stronger, much more rigid, and you don't need to cut them to size because generally the openings in them are big enough, especially the hog panels, because they come with the smaller squares at the bottom, so you can just fold that up and have it be the bottom of your feeder, and then just kind of wrap it around and pin it to the wall. And they're much more rigid and strong. Whereas I just used what I had here. It's fairly flimsy, so I'll add a bit of wood to reinforce it. And I think that's what we'll go with in the future. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.